Today we are drafting from the 108 in a 10-team format. Let's get into it. Looking at the board so far, I think it's pretty much what you're going to be seeing all the time. The typical players that come off, nothing really out of the ordinary. In my home league, the league that I've been playing in for the longest, this is actually where I'm going to be picking. So this is going to be a nice little warm-up for myself on what I kind of need to expect as I'm going to be drafting this year. And I actually really like the 108 because of the start that I think you should be able to get. So if we look at the board, we see that Amon-Ra comes off at the 107. And will that happen in your league? Probably. I think Amon-Ra coming off at the 107 is pretty common. That's kind of his ADP as well right now. And if that is the case at the 108, I think the player you should be targeting is Jonathan Taylor. And that is who I'm going to be taking here, Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor really could be super productive this year, has an insane high upside. We've seen what he did last year, and Daniel Jones is healthy, should be playing starting from week 1. I think after Daniel Jones got injured, it kind of fell downhill after that, but he was still pretty relevant. Obviously not as high of a ceiling, but he was averaging like around 14 to 15 points per game. So we know that that is his floor, and his ceiling is 23 points per game plus. So that's definitely an upside shot we want to take, especially with running backs coming off super early. I think if we can secure that, we're going to be pretty happy with that. So at the 203, now I know Justin Jefferson looks super appealing here, and it's a player that everybody likes because of the name. I like Justin Jefferson, but I'm not going to be taking him here. I think that we should avoid Justin Jefferson and kind of secure a second running back. I'm not super high on Justin Jefferson this year, not because of him, but because of Kyler Murray. So I'm going to avoid him, and I don't think we should be taking any of these receivers while there's still running backs available. So I'm actually going to go and take Chase Brown here. I think a pairing of Jonathan Taylor and Chase Brown is going to be super elite and super productive. It's something that I'm super happy with. So this is our starting lineup. I think is going to be super elite. Chase Brown, high-powered offense, averaged 17 points per game last year. I think that it's going to be the same, if not more, this year. So it's really what you want, and we can avoid running back for a little bit at this point, kind of focus on the wide receiver position. And looking at who is available, we will take Chris Olave here. I think Chris Olave, with Jordan Tyson officially being out, is going to be an easy 16 points per game plus player. He will be super productive. He's going to be targeted heavy, again, on an offense that plans to throw the ball a lot. So we'll definitely take him here at the 308. And then at the 403, player that I really like to take here is Ladd McConkey. But I'm going to go and take Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers is usually a guy that isn't available. He's usually off the board at this point. But him being available, I really like Zay. I think he showed us a pretty decent ceiling last year in week 1 and in the end of the fantasy playoffs and stuff like that. 29 points, almost 30, as well as a super consistent floor. It wasn't like a crazy high floor. It was like around 10 to 11 points per game, but that's pretty decent for your wide receiver too. I think that's something you wouldn't be too opposed with. So we'll definitely take him here at 403 and kind of expect that similar production, if not more. You also have to consider the fact that Lamar Jackson was injured and Zay Flowers wasn't, playing with the best quarterback for a little bit. So I think Zay could easily average around 14 to 15 points per game this year. He just got paid. I think he's a really solid player to take at the 403. If you don't like Zay, definitely go for a Ladd McConkey. I think he's the next best player there. Now at the 508, we want to continue to build up our wide receiver room, and looking at who is available, I'm going to go and take another player I typically don't really take, but I think could be pretty productive, and that is going to be Terry McLaurin. I think Terry is a player that I was a bit out on last year, and I'm happy that I was. He wasn't that productive. Jaden Daniels gets injured and stuff like that, but Jaden Daniels should be healthy and playing. So I think Terry McLaurin could be pretty decent this year. Again, for our flex, I think a player that can average 13 points per game plus is pretty solid. So he's the wide receiver 1 there. Stephon Diggs, definitely somebody that will be competing with him, but I think Terry might beat him out majority of the time. So we'll definitely take him here at the 508. With the 603, we're going to go and take ourselves a running back, and DeAndre Swift. I love DeAndre Swift. I think he's going to be really good this year. I'm expecting him to continue to be the number 1 running back there, continue to average 14 points per game, if not more, and be super productive. So I really like DeAndre Swift here. Now with the 708, again, you can go and take a Jalen Hurts, a Jaden Daniels, kind of do a stack here with Terry McLaurin, or you can go for another running back. Kind of looking, we have 4 players that are going to go before us. So I will probably go and take a quarterback here, and I'm going to take Jalen Hurts this time around. Again, Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, are pretty similar. I think both can average around the same amount of points. So if you prefer Jaden, take Jaden. If you like Jalen, take Jalen. But definitely only take these guys if they fall into the 7th round. Their ADP, they typically are going around the 6th and 5th round. I think it's a bit too early for them, in my opinion. I think that solidifying how we did here, 3 elite running backs, 3 elite wide receivers, and then grabbing our elite quarterback is far more important rather than taking a quarterback and then trying to find a different kind of running back or wide receiver. So at the 803, we're going to go and take an upside shot for the running back position, and that is going to be Travion Henderson. Again, another player that I think could excel, but towards the end of the season, he has that upside there, and I think that it's a no-brainer to take him here. Start building up our bench for those big upside players. In the 9th round, I'm going to go and take our tight end, Tucker Kraft, while he is still available. Again, Tucker Kraft, I think, is a top 5 tight end. I have him ranked personally as my number 4 tight end. I think he's going to be really, really good this year. Averaged almost 15 points per game last year before his injury. Now he's going to be projected to be coming back week 1. I think he's going to be really solid this year and a top target for Jordan Love in Green Bay. Now with the 1003, I'm going to go and take Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks was a player that I used to avoid a lot in all my drafts, but now with Chuba Hubbard being injured, Jonathan Brooks has the team 1 possessions and stuff like that. He's running with the starters, which I think can make him more appealing for the coach and easily kind of give him that starting role earlier on. I was expecting him to eventually take over as long as he doesn't get injured, but I thought it was going to be a bit later, but now it's looking like it could be a lot earlier. So we'll definitely take him here in the 10th round. In the 11th round, kind of looking through, you're looking for upside shots at this point for wide receiver, quarterback, stuff like that. I'll go and take Casey Concepcion here in the 11th. I really like Casey. I think he's going to be super productive on Cleveland. Definitely the number 1 option there. I don't think it's really a competition with the other guys. Denzel Boston is another intriguing name on Cleveland, but he goes far later in drafts, and I still think Casey's a bit more talented and will be more productive. If we kind of look at George Kittle's stats, we see the numbers that he was putting up prior to his injury. Again, super elite production from George Kittle. So we're going to be taking him here in the 12th round. I know I typically don't like to do this. I like to take a Chig or something in the 16th, but I think with the value being there, he's easily a player we can trade for somebody who needs a tight end, or we can plug him and play him in our flex, or instead of Tucker Kraft. I think it's a no-brainer. And we're going for upside shot players, and you got players like a Woody Marks, you have a Tyrone Tracy. These guys are coming off the board. Like, how productive are they going to be? Not really that productive, but George Kittle is going to be productive, so we'll definitely take him there in the 12th round. Now with the 13th round, we'll go through and we'll probably take Jalen Coker, another wide receiver that I really like this year that I think will be pretty productive and easily somebody we can plug and play in our flex if needed, depending on the matchup. In the 14th round, I'm going to go and take my GOAT, Brendan Aubrey. Taking him here in the 14th because I know he won't be coming back to us in the 15th. Again, for Brendan Aubrey, he is the Josh Allen of the kickers. He's going to be super productive. He's going to be elite. If you know in your draft at the 15th round is where the kickers are going to be coming off, go and take Brendan Aubrey a round before. Take him 2 rounds before. If he doesn't come off earlier, he is the kicker that is coming off super early. He's going to be productive. He's going to be easily the best kicker in the league this year, in my opinion. So go ahead and take him. He's going to be the best guy for the job. Now in the 15th pick, you can go and kind of continue to build up your depth, looking for players that could kind of have that explosive play potential and stuff like that. I'm going to go and take my defense here, the New England Patriots. Again, I think New England's going to be a top 5 defense this year and going to be super productive. In the 16th round, if Patrick Mahomes is available, which he probably won't be, definitely take him if he is there. I'm going to go through and still continue to build up our bench, and I will go and take Trey Tucker. I think Trey Tucker has the opportunity to be the wide receiver 1 on the Raiders. And again, not a high-powered offense, but again, you're drafting essentially waiver wire guys at this point. So he's one of my more preferred waiver wire pickups or really deep players to go. So looking at the team that we have built, we have Jalen Hurts, who again, tush push, rushing upside, hopefully throws the ball a bit better this year and is super productive for us. We have Jonathan Taylor and Chase Brown as our starting running backs. I think this is a super elite starting running back lineup. You have Jonathan Taylor, who we know could average 23 points per game plus and has a floor of around 15 points per game. Chase Brown averaged 17 points per game last year, and I think he's going to average the same with a nice ceiling as long as Joe Burrow plays. And if Joe Burrow gets injured, you have Joe Flacco as a backup. Chris Olave, Zay Flowers, ton of upside with Olave, now with Jordan Tyson dealing with the injury. Zay Flowers has the upside as well as a super safe floor. Tucker Kraft, top 5 tight end in the league. Terry McLaurin, DeAndre Swift, a couple of vets that will be productive, will be getting the volume on their team. Patriots, top 5 defense. Brendan Aubrey's the GOAT. Travion Henderson, Jonathan Brooks, upside shot running backs. Casey Concepcion, Jalen Coker, Trey Tucker. Again, more of bench flex plays depending on when you need them. Casey, I think, really does have potential to be pretty productive in Cleveland. And then George Kittle, a player, again, that I typically don't stack up on tight ends, but I think with him officially coming back week 1, possibly, he's a bit more appealing. He's super, super elite in his production. He's easily a top 5 tight end when he is healthy and plays. So he's definitely a player we can trade or even play instead of Tucker Kraft. So that is the type of team you can build from the 108. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one when we are picking from the 109.